They've got to start from deep in their end of the field, and Garrison Hurst takes advantage of it. He takes the handoff, hits to his right, gets to the 20. He's in the 30. Needs to cut in. He comes back up the right sideline. Breaks the third tackle. Comes down to the 30. He's down to the 20. He's down to the 10. He's down to the 5. He's into the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! 49ers! 96-yard run from scrimmage. Garrison Hurst breaking tackle after tackle. Sweeps down the sideline. Throws off bodies like clothes after a marathon.
Young, back to throw. In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again, to the 35, cuts back at the 30, to the 20, the 50, the 10. He died. Touchdown, 49ers.
Third down, Alex takes the snap. Alex looking down in post, and it's good. Touchdown! Touchdown, 49ers!
It is second down. Ryan takes the snap, throws the slant to the left side. It's Russell intercepted. The 49ers pick it, and Navarro Bowman is redemption. Navarro Bowman running it all the way for the touchdown. No greater redemption.
The San Francisco 49ers, we can do whatever we want.
Click, click, boom. What's going on, faithfuls? It's your boys, Mike and Tony, and we are back to bring you guys our reaction to the 49ers victory last night. Now, last night, I know a lot of you guys were there. We just had a chance to open up the mics and let people come in, take the victory shots with us, but we didn't react. We didn't have a chance to tell you guys what our takes were. Tony wasn't even there, and I'm glad that I was muted because the junk that I was talking before we started, before you guys could hear me, was probably not appropriate, especially in the first 7 minutes. So, Tony, what's going on with you, man? How you feeling over there?
What's up, buddy? I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm great, man. You know, I actually got to watch the game. It was actually available on NFL Plus, like when I went to bed. Now, I understand that we did a 2.5 hour show, so they had plenty of time to load it up, but it was pretty cool. I got a chance to watch it all over again. Have you seen the game since it ended?
No, I did not. I plan on watch. We're going to try to watch it tonight, maybe when I get home. But I've not seen it again.
It was just as exciting the second time around as it was the first time around. And I determined that knowing the outcome doesn't take away from how you feel when you watch it again. I watch some plays and I'm like, oh man, I know something bad's about to happen. But for whatever reason, I was just as excited. Maybe it was because I was still in it in the moment. You know what I mean? Maybe it was like, you know, the 43 shots I threw back during the live. I don't know what it was, but I was still just as excited watching it last night, laying in bed. Like, you know, I let it watch me to sleep. So let's start. Let's start with the three different phases of the game here, man, and then we'll end up on coaching. We'll finish on coaching here. I think that'll be a nice, strong finish. Let's start with special teams last night, Tony. I want to get your thoughts on what you saw from the 49ers special teams units. They were out there, you know, kickoffs, punt returns, all that good stuff. What was your biggest takeaway on special teams?
I think they played well, and on the punts, the coverage team continuously just makes plays and downs that ball inside the 10-yard line. We could have had it, three times on three consecutive punts, but the one, Travarius Moore's foot touched that white stripe on that goal line, and, you know, it didn't work out in our favor. But, you know, field position is key. And with Wisnowski, with the style that he punts with that knuckleball, how it just hits the grass and it just stops. And, of course, the field had something to do with that type of grass down there with it being wet. So, you know, I was impressed with the special teams.
Yeah, I agree, man. And you touched on it right there. You know, that it was pouring at the time of the first punt. So he did try to stop, man. He A+ for effort, right? Like, I mean, he had like his pinky toe on the line. I mean, barely anything at all, but it was enough, and it was a good call by the officials. But a phenomenal effort there. If that was dry field, I don't have any doubt that he would have been able to stop, and they would have downed that ball inside the one. The punting continued to be that same way all night, and even the return coverage. You know, we kicked off a lot in this game, and I think there was one that I was a little nervous about, but that wasn't a big. Oh no, you know what? I'm thinking about the punt return. There was a punt return where Wisnowski had to make the tackle on the sideline. I think that was the one bad return that I remember, and I think there was a flag on that play too.
Yes.
I think there was a flag on that play, so it wasn't as bad as what it looked like it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
The coverage units were phenomenal. What about the return units? Like when we had to return the ball, the punts and things like that. How'd you feel about that?
I mean, I think we only returned it, what, 1, 2, 3 times?
Well, they punted a few times. I'm going to see if I can pull up the yards that he
I'm
had.
thinking of kickoff returns. I'm sorry. Kickoff returns, we did 3. And they pretty much kicked it out of the back of the end zone for a touchback, so you just take it as you will. Take the ball to the 25. And the punt returns, there was a couple fair catches, but I also think that could have been due to the weather with the rain coming down in the beginning of the game. I saw McLeod run up under one. I was like, oh my God, and he just threw his hand up and caught it. I was like, all right, we're good. But on the aggression side of it, I think he had maybe 2 returns out of all the punts. One of them, I think he got maybe 9 yards out of it. The other one, he was tackled fairly quick. But listen, no turnovers on special teams. And, yeah, that's it. There was no turnovers on the return games.
Yeah. Listen to how the game started for the 49ers, right? Punt, and then they just seem to flick a switch. Touchdown, field goal, touchdown, punt, touchdown, punt, in the game.
That first drive should not have ended in a punt. I'm sorry, because there was 2 calls. There was 2 non-calls. The hit to the head to Kittle on a defenseless player. That should have extended that drive.
Mm-hmm.
And, the pass interference, they could say, yeah, the feet were tangled, but if you look closely at the replay, there was a little push-off by the defensive back on that play that could have led to Jennings toppling over. Oh, he's on the phone. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You can't go back. You can say the what-if. You can play the what-if game all day, all night. But they didn't call it. But those are 2 definitely questionable plays. One definitely a flag should have been thrown on that. I can't see. Is you done? You done?
Yeah, I'm done now. Sorry, I'm still on the clock, still working, so I had to make sure that
Yeah, that's fine.
make sure I get that call. I'm looking at I was trying to find the return. Here we go. I was trying to find the return numbers here. Ray McLeod had 2 punt returns and one of them was a fair catch. I believe the other one was like no. He had 2 punt returns, a long of 7. He averaged 6.5. So one was 7 yards, one was 6 yards. Nothing phenomenal there. And then let me see if there's kickoff returns. I don't even know if we did any kickoff. I think all the kickoffs were fair catches.
They just went out the back of the end zone.
Out the back of the end zone. I don't think anything significant happened there. So it wasn't anything too damning, too telling. You know what I mean? Let me see here. There are stops coming in for work. Let me just get the guy straightened out here. So, all right, let's talk about the offense. I don't think the special teams was a liability at all. The punting seemed to go well. And I remember during the live, I asked straight up, I was like, he's really booting this ball. Does the altitude have anything to do with it? Do you think that affected the distance and the travel of the ball?
Yeah, I think so. The air is thin up there. That's why it's hard to breathe. So, you get a good kick on it with a good lift, that ball's going to go. So, it would have been interesting, just off topic real quick, it would have been interesting to see Robbie Gold, what his long could be, long attempt at a field goal would be if he had to kick one, because I think he's in the 50 to 52-yard range right now. Off the top of my head, I think he could probably, we'll say 50 yards. I think potentially if he had to go 55, maybe 57, he probably would have had no problem with it.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you, man. I think he would have been able to nail some of them. But the good thing is we didn't have to see him do it a lot. Like that was probably one of my favorite parts of the game. It's like the Niners didn't have to settle for a lot of field goals in this game.
No.
That was pretty impressive, man.
Well,
One.
they're starting to come together, man. It's just a matter of time before this team takes off. And like we said in the pregame, I was really hoping to see it, and I was going to be looking for it, and you saw it last night.
Yeah. One field goal the whole day. I don't think you can be mad at that at all. Let me see here. I'm gonna move that over there. I got to text my guys really quick, just giving them a stop. Sorry. One field goal throughout the whole day, and that's going to transition us to the offense, man. You talked about how effective and efficient they were. What were your thoughts on the offense overall? You can start with the run game, pass game. You can do it all. It doesn't matter. How'd you feel about this, man? I was happy with the offense.
I was very, very, very impressed with the offense. And I'm going to say it, I thought Jimmy Garoppolo played excellent yesterday. I think he's starting to get that comfort between him and McCaffrey in like oh shit situations where he might have forced a throw 10 yards down the field into a tight window and it would have been a pick or sailed one over someone's head. He's got that security blanket. And once that trade was executed, we all said, this is what's going to happen. It's going to put the pressure on Jimmy to have the success because you have that type of weapon coming out of the backfield. And he's taking that opportunity and he's kind of running with it right now. And you're starting to see it in the offense. The offense is starting to take that step where they're making that run and that push and they're gelling right at the same time. But let's pause for a second and let's just think about this. If Jimmy's having that success, he was not hit at all yesterday, I don't think, off the top of my head. No sacks. So what does that tell you? The run game, I swear to God, Mitchell at one point was getting 10 yards of crack. That tells you this offensive line is 100% gelled together. They are playing on the same page, and they look absolutely phenomenal. And I will include McGlinchey on that. I thought McGlinchey played very well last night. But, you know, I was just impressed in total.
Did that hurt to say?
No, listen, I don't have a problem giving credit where it's due. It's just when he shits the bed, and he really shits the bed, and it hurts this team. And there's nothing you can, do or say about that.
Yeah, that's absolutely for sure. Let me see here. So,
just give me one second, Mike. I got to step away 1 sec.
Yeah, go ahead. You talked about the run game and just how the offense was coming together. It's interesting. I can't wait for Tony to come back. I want to ask him about. He said the cohesion of the offensive line. That's why the run game was so effective. But the offensive line, they're still doing this thing where they're mixing in and subbing out Burford. He's coming out. They're putting Brunskill in, and I want to see if there's a reason for it. I want to know if anyone peppermint mocha flavored hookah is good. I gotta try that. I want to know if there's a reason behind it. I want to know if anyone's seen the differences on the film. Has there been a deep enough breakdown of what the team does that's so different when one guy's in and the other guy's in there? Because I don't get it. I don't get it at all. And I can't wait to get Tony's opinion on that. He should be.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you. I'm just doing stuff where I can't sit on my phone.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. But yeah, I thought the offensive line had a really good game, man. I like seeing the guys. I think there was every single lineman had a different play where they were down, second and third level of the defense, blocking and things like that. The aggressive run blocking that we saw from them in this game, the creative run plays and all that. I don't know if you saw the tweet with Sam Acho where he posted this. He posted the breakdown of the Debo touchdown. I mean, holy smokes! It was really impressive, man. It was really impressive.
Like this is what I just want to say about that, right? And this is why I said what I said about Kyle this whole time. You're seeing it. He has the full arsenal now. He's comfortable. He's taking advantage. He's manipulating defenses. What's up, buddy? So this is what you're going to see now.
Right.
Give me 1 sec, Mike.
Yep. No. Nope. And that's what I'm saying. I think Kyle's just getting started. I mean, I know I want to end the episode with Kyle talk, but it's going to be hard because he should also get credit, not just for the offense. He also should be getting some credit for the defense. And I think people need to talk about that a little bit more because The defense has just been playing lights out. Absolutely been playing lights out. They're overcoming all the different injuries and adversity. And the team, man, they even did a good job of managing players. People who were hurt, people who were gassed, cramping, letting them get their rest, rotating players in and out, and they didn't seem to miss a beat at all. So it was pretty impressive overall. I know they said Tony's changing the tire. He can hear us too. That's the funny part. He can hear us.
I ain't changing no damn tire. I got news for you.
What's the matter? She got a fever again? How high?
It's going around.
101.4?
She took 3 bites and she's falling asleep.
All right. You can get her a Gatorade?
Stack the Tylenol on the Motrin. 4 and 4.
How about you sleep out here? That way I can clean. Okay.
You gonna fall asleep? What you want you to? I'm sorry. All right, Tony. So talk to me about this offensive line. Why are we rotating the way that they are with Burford and Brunskill still? And what do you think of the offensive line overall? I thought they had a really good game.
That's the $1 million question. I don't know why he's doing it. I would love to have someone ask that. But obviously I can't from New Jersey. But I don't know why he's doing it. And I'm kind of against it slightly because I like what Burford brings. And you saw Brunskill commit a penalty but was not called that could have been detrimental and call a big play back for the 49ers that helped them get that swag. Well, not swag, but get that momentum going on the offensive side of the ball. So overall, I'm impressed with the offensive line. I think Brendel played well. Leading like 10, 15, 20 yards downfield on that one run by, I think it was Debo. What else? Trent Williams. Yeah, he's tipping out what's going on, right? So, yeah. Banks is still yet to give up a sack. Listen, and just one thing about the offensive line and going back to the Emmanuel Ocho video. That is the number one thing of Kyle Shanahan is he's the master deceiver, like he says, right? He's 100% right. I played the position in high school and some college. I coached it at the high school level. The linebackers look as a triangle, and he's 100% right. And according to what your responsibilities are as a linebacker, would you shut the hell up with this beep?
It's you. Put your seatbelt on.
I know. I don't like them seatbelts, but whatever.
You got to snap it behind you and then just sit on it.
Yeah.
That way it's always closed.
So I put it on. So what was I saying? Yeah. So that linebacker played 100% to the keys and 100% responsibility. He played that play 100% right. But what does Kyle Shanahan do? He finds the weakest link on the defense and he puts him in a tough position to see what kind of football player he is. And guess what?
Right.
He's 100% right. You have 2 backside players pulling to play side on an action fake, and the ball goes on the opposite direction. And when you split the field in half, there's more Cardinals on the play action side. There's more Cardinals on the fake side than there is on the ball side. So that's what Kyle does, man. And everyone's saying, oh, Kyle's overrated, Kyle's this, Kyle's that. Stop with it. You're seeing what he could do. This is what Kyle Shanahan does. And is it funny that Jimmy Garoppolo's play has significantly improved since they added Christian McCaffrey to this roster? Is it weird? Is it coincidence? Is it odd? They added the final piece that they needed to this roster. Yes, Raheem Mostert was fast as shit. Not questioning that. Christian McCaffrey's not that fast. But I'm going to tell you one thing that Christian McCaffrey is. He's got a higher IQ as a football player. He's more deadlier out of the backfield than catching the ball in his hands. He's a better route runner, and he's a better football player than Raheem Mostert. And
what
that
if
was the missing piece.
What if it's less about McCaffrey and more about Brian Greasy?
Well, listen, I think Brian Greasy was a huge hire, and he clearly has improved Jimmy Garoppolo. No interception, like less interceptions, less oh shit throws for Jimmy, the hospital balls are still there, but like you see the difference in the player from that aspect, and that does come down to quarterback coaching. And kudos to Shanahan for bringing in Greasy, going against the grain, and bringing that type of person in. Clearly, there was a lot of people that were against it and had comments about it in a negative way, but clearly Kyle Shanahan knows what he's doing. But if you add the addition of Greasy, you add the addition of McCaffrey, you add now Kyle Shanahan to have the freedom to really manipulate instead of consistently scheming one player open on every play to get that throw from Jimmy, you notice
Right.
Jimmy's playing more free now. It's not, all right, Jimmy, this is going to be the read. That's where the ball needs to go on this play. No. If Jimmy don't feel comfortable right there, there's your security blanket in the flat.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
by the way, is it little odd how Kyle Juszczyk has yet to get a catch out of the backfield in 2 consistent games?
Well, what does he need to catch it for?
That's what I'm saying. You have a better weapon now in McCaffrey. But I'm not going to knock Kyle Juszczyk as the player because he still is a big key to the run game. But instead of matching up Juice on a linebacker, you're matching up McCaffrey on a linebacker. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Right.
So you got to look at that, man. And kudos, hats off. They win the Super Bowl this year. John Lynch should be the GM of the year. I'm sorry for pulling that trade off and bringing that final piece that's needed in San Francisco to add to this offense. And now truly you're going to see Kyle Shanahan at his best.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Jimmy.
Hold on one second.
Yeah,
I
you go.
gotta try to get in touch with a driver.
But like another, go ahead. I'll just keep talking. Just tell me to shut up when you're ready. Another statistic, right? How many games we would sit there and say, "Oh man, they're forcing it to Debo. They're doing everything in their power to put the ball in Debo's hands. They're doing all this to force it to Kittle, and they're double teaming Kittle." I'm gonna read some stats last night. These are total yards from scrimmage and touchdowns. I don't know whether it was pass or run. Whatever it is, these are total yards from scrimmage from these players. Christian McCaffrey, 106, no touchdowns. Deebo Samuel, 94 with 1 touchdown. George Kittle, 84 with 2 touchdowns. Brandon Ayuk, 20 with 2 touchdowns. So what does that tell you? Someone tell me, please. What does that tell you?
That means they're spreading that ball around.
Okay. That tells me 100% Jimmy has the green light to go wherever the defense gives him. It's no more about scheming somebody open consistently. You take what the defense gives you, whether it's a 15-yard in-breaking route or it's a 5-yard check down, whether it's a 20-yard route down the seams to Kittle or it's a check down to McCaffrey. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy has the ultimate green light now to distribute this ball. And now you're starting to see the total attempts go up game in and game out. And this is what was needed, that final threat. It's not a knock against Elijah Mitchell. It's not a knock against Jeff Wilson. But neither of them will be the all-purpose threat that Christian McCaffrey is and is now for the 49ers. You're
I
still
like it,
talking.
man. No, yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. My job is like going crazy right now. So, all right.
But yeah, like getting back now, Mike's busy. I'll just keep talking. That was a little bit of like the scheme of the offense. So let's look at the run game, right? Kyle comes out in the first half and gives the dose to McCaffrey, right? And then in the second half, he comes out and gives the dose to Mitchell. But the first play out the second half, when Mitchell's on the field, what does Kyle do? Instead of him handing the ball off to Mitchell, he motions Mitchell out of the backfield and allows him as a slot receiver. Everyone says, oh, well, okay, so what? Well, that tells defensive coordinators, you don't know what's going to happen with either one of those guys back there. Because technically, in the mindset of Kyle Shanahan, Mitchell's the pounder, and McCaffrey is the elusive guy.
Right.
But you can't commit to that, and you can't put that on film. Because once that happens, you're tipping your hat. And Kyle's too smart to do that. So, both of these guys proved on film that they could do both things equally and as good as the other. I shouldn't say that because McCaffrey is a better receiver than Mitchell, but shows that they can do good enough to have to account for that. Oh my God, there's the 18 man.
Right, they're interchangeable at whatever skill set you're talking
Correct.
about there, and that's what
What
they're
does this
making a
go
concerted
back
effort
to?
at showing.
What does this go back to since day one? Kyle Shanahan took over. Interchangeable position groups, interchangeable football, positionless football.
Yeah.
And you're finally seeing it on the offensive side of the ball. Yes, it took a while, but listen, Rome wasn't built overnight. The foundation was laid through the draft. They used the trade market. They used free agency to get where they want, and look where they are. Look where they are right now.
Right.
Nobody, and I don't give a shit what anybody says, nobody's going to want to face this team in the playoffs. Whether in Santa Clara or they're on the road in Philly or Dallas. Nobody's going to want to see that.
I agree. I want to ask you this question about the defense, man. Have they turned the corner? You know, when the season first started, it was, oh my God, best defense ever. And then we lost Armstead and things kind of fell apart.
And Mosley.
Yeah, and Mosley. That's right. And Mosley. Have the Niners figured out a way to overcome those two major losses on their defense? Because we're seeing something here. Now, I know people are going to say, oh, it's just whoever the team is that you're playing, right? It's just the Cardinals or it's just the Chargers. I mean, you tell me what you think. I think this defense is finally figured something out. I really do. I think they've learned that you know, how to overcome the absence of Eric Armstead, how to compensate for the absence of Emmanuel Mosley, and I think they're finding their stride, Tony. Man, we saw a bunch of young guys mixed in last night. Diamador Lenore,
Yes.
Ambry Thomas was even out there. I saw Womack out there. I mean, what was there not to like? What are your what's your take on it, on the defense?
I was very impressed with the defense. What I don't like about the defense, and we talked about this ad nauseum yesterday during the game, is that bend but don't break mentality. I think they're too talented to be playing at that type of scheme or principles in their defense. I don't like the bend but don't break. You do a bend but don't break with a porous pass rush, right? Because you know they're not going to get home. So then you have to play, all right, we're going to play off and keep everything in front of us. But no. And I'm willing to take the last night's game and throw it out the window because of the change of altitude, because those guys were gassed on the front line. There was like one complete series where Nick Bosa was not on the field at all. And you never see that if he's not injured. So they were gassed. So if you take that game and you get it out of that stadium in Santa Clara or even Arizona, I think D'Amico might have changed the philosophy a little bit. I think he would have been a little bit more aggressive on the back end as far as up on the line of scrimmage and pressing these guys and playing man coverage. But due to the conditions, I think he kind of played that bend but don't break a little bit more. Because if you go to previous games, you saw the 49ers make the adjustment in the second half and start bashing people off the line of scrimmage because to get home, and you're interrupting the routes. There's no more pre-releases, and there's no pitch and catch anymore. So I think that's one thing I wish this defense would change to more of an aggressive secondary and philosophy. But hey, they're doing well. They're playing well. They're going to get Armstead back. Unfortunately, we're not going to get Mosley back. But everything is going in an upward trajectory, and that's what you want to see at this time of the year to make that push. And they're on the phone. So, yeah, as far as the defensive line, I think the defensive line is only going to get better, right? They're getting reps, and it's going to come to the point where those guys that are getting massive reps now are going to go back to the roles that they were originally brought in here for. Ridgeway, Gibbons, T.Y. McGill, Hyder. They're going to go back to that true rotational piece, give somebody a breather, and you're going to have that consistent pressure play in and play out once Armstead comes back and if Kinlaw's able to come back. And that's when I think you'll see this defense solidify itself and make that push for the playoffs and hopefully to the Super Bowl and hopefully for a win. But the most important thing is they need to stay healthy. They still have a lot of games in front of them. They have to stay healthy. And he's still on the phone. As far as the linebackers, I like what I saw from the linebackers yesterday. Fred Warner flying all over the field. And I know people are like, yeah, they're playing the dump-off game. But it just shows you the kind of player that Aziz, Greenlaw, and Warner are, because if they're playing the dump-off game, the ball's thrown for 4 yards, they're tackled at the 4-yard mark. It's not like they're taking it and going another 4 to 8 yards. So I don't have them giving up the 4 yards in front of them as long as they're tackling them and bringing them down to the ground.
Yeah.
So, again, philosophy.
Yeah. Now, look, we're going to have to wait and praise Kyle Shanahan, this coaching staff, on another segment because I have to get to parent-teacher conferences right now. They're saying they don't think Armstead is coming back. I think he's coming back just much later. I think he's coming back later than we all thought. We heard that this could be an 8-week injury, a recovery time. And someone was saying that they don't think that they put him on IR because there's only a certain amount of players you can bring back at a time. So don't put him on IR, just keep him on the active. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens. True. I do think that he'll be back. I think the Niners are being very meticulous with what they do and who they put on IR and who's set the return and all that stuff. Tony, final thoughts really quick on the defense. I had one more question for you, and hopefully you didn't answer it when I couldn't hear you. The play of Charvarius Ward, I know you talked about you don't like that they play with this cushion and all that. They are sticking to his side of the field thing. He didn't move inside the nickel. He didn't move over to the right when DeAndre Hopkins moved around. He stayed on the one side of the field. Is he paid too much money to be that I played just here?
That's a good question. I don't know. I thought definitely he was going to follow around Hopkins because I think he was the true threat in that offense and potentially the real threat and only threat down the field. So I thought maybe they would have shadowed him, but I guess they're going to stick to their philosophy. One side. Whoever's on your side, that's who you got. Man up and play your game.
That's very interesting. And I only say that again because of the salary. So, all right, guys, listen, we will try to bring you guys another episode where we talk about the coaching staff because they definitely deserve their praise for this game. Some phenomenal adjustments made on all three parts, if we're being completely honest, not just offense and defense. So I want to give them their praise, but I got to run to these parent-teacher conference. I got to find out just how bad my kids have been in school, whose stuff they're stealing, and how much it's going to cost me. So I'm going to get up out of here. Tony, any final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
No, go ahead, go.
All right, guys. That's going to do it for us tonight. We want to thank you guys for tonight. Listen to me. I'm so used to doing shows at night. That's going to do it for this episode right now. Thank you guys for checking us out. We will be back soon. Prepare for glory.
Anticipate pain.
But always remain faithful. We're out of here, guys. We'll see you soon.
We all gas, no brakes, pumped up, no fakes. We spinning, we winning, we high stakes. We never miss, we all makes. Look at us dudes trying to prove, bringing you news with nothing to lose. Mike, Nick, Tony, Wayne, Method Man, we bring the pain. Hey, see, I'ma confess it. We under the pressure. If you looking to find us, we them nothing but Niners. We nothing but Niners. We nothing but Niners. We nothing but we them nothing but Niners.